What's up, guys? Holinaz with you here, bringing you that time I got reincarnated as a slime anime review, episode 11. This episode was very interesting. We got the ambassador for the lizard men that arrived, and it was none other than their prince, of course, as we already know it. But before he arrived to the city, we had a funny moment with the princess and Xian, that they both were fighting over the slime Rimuru to like watch over him and protect him. And we found out that Shiran is not just his bodyguard but also his secretary. So that's going to be her job, basically. So she has two jobs in one, and she just has a secretary job just because she wants to hold him all the time, which would get the princess jealous. So they were fighting over him. That was kind of funny. And we also had another funny moment where basically she cooked a lunch for him, but she's a horrible cook. So the food looked and smelled nasty, and like everybody was dodging like lunch, and everyone knew, but nobody told them. So Rimuru got upset and fed it to Gupta, and Gupta supposedly died from it because of poison. And now Benihime, he has to watch over her every time like she cooks. So that's his punishment for not speaking up earlier about what happened, which was hilarious. Then when the lizard man finally arrived, I believe the prince's name is Gabiru, or Gabiru, I believe, yeah, Gabiru. When he arrived, Gabiru was like, "Let me speak to your master," and he spoke to the slime, and he didn't believe the slime was like the one who's controlling the direwolves or the master. Like he was completely denying it, and everybody was getting really upset, especially Shinan, who was holding him all the time, and when she getting upset, she's squeezing him, and he's like, "Come on, when we come from slime to slime-ish." And just, the jokes that he was making, and every time she gets upset, she's been doing that through the whole episode, so it was hilarious. But the leader of the direwolf came out, Ragnar, and the lizard was like, "I challenge you to a fight. If I win, you have to join us." So basically what the wolf did was he kept his composure, didn't rip his head off like he thought he was. And then we find out that Gupta is alive. So what he did was he picked him up and he threw him in battle. And Rimuru was like, "You have to win this battle for us. If you don't, I make you eat Shinan's food." And he was like, "Oh, I'm motivated not to eat that food again." And he's also going to get a weapon if he wins. So we get the fight, and I was expecting Gota to actually lose to this guy, but he actually ends up winning against this lizard man. He actually one-shots him. He does something very smart. He throws his spear at him, because they both had spears, and he threw his spear. And in the instant the lizard man dodged, he took his eye off of Gota for like a 1 second. And for that one split second, Gota hopped in the shadows, did shadow movement, appeared behind the guy and kicked him in the back of the head, knocking him out easily and clean. It was a one-hit KO. And everybody was happy that he won. But Rimuru was very impressed. He was like, "I was expecting for you to lose and then everyone to get upset and then gang up on him. I wasn't expecting for you to win." But Rimuru, of course, played it off and was like, "Oh, I knew you was going to win. Haha. I make sure to make that weapon for you." And Gupta was happy. We also found out that Gupta survived the eating the food because he has something that Rimuru don't. Poison resistance. And Rimuru dialogued to himself something very important. He believes that Gupta is a prodigy of the hobgoblins. So he's going to be very special, and that's why he's learning all these different skills very quickly. I won't be surprised if Hobgoblin becomes like a general of the goblins, or their next king. If Rimuru ever decides to leave or whatever, but after that the lizard man took their chief, as they like to call him, and they ran off, upset. And then we went back to the house, where they started talking about different things. And the orc, with the blue hair, I believe his name is, I wrote it down, So, how do you pronounce it? I believe it's pronounced So. Forgive me if I'm butchering some of these names, but Japanese is not my forte. But So appeared, and we found out that he had used his body double earlier, and he had sent them out as scouts. And there's an army of 200,000 orcs close to the vertebrae of the lizardman people. And he believes that they're gonna all rendezvous there to meet up to probably to attack them. So, and with this is being stated and they plotting out the war plan, we get a new character introduced. And this character is something called a dryad. A dryad. It's a really legendary creature. They usually appear only females, and they look like female elves, but they have like tree plants usually growing out of them. They more like the female spirit elves version, but one appeared and Rimuru was super happy because he knew what that was. And he was like, "Ooh, a female. Sure, I see her." So, Soul brung her in one of his clones. And they were talking about earlier that this leader, whoever's controlling this group, has to be a orc lord, which is a really rare creature that appears once every century. And it's funny because after they had this discussion and she popped up, this new character who's a dryad, her name is Trini, she actually tells Rimuru, "I have a favor for you." And when he asks her, "Okay, what is it?" She was like, "I want you to defeat the Lord of the Orcs." And that's when the episode cut off. So I guess Benihime, the orc with the red hair, the older brother of the princess, I guess he was right. I guess there is an orc lord. I mean, it was hinted at last episode, but and a little bit earlier in this episode, but it was never like clarified if there was one. But I guess thanks to this new character, if she's not evil and she's betraying them, and she's telling the truth, excuse me, then there is really an orc lord somewhere hiding around. So it's gonna be intriguing to see how Rimuru is gonna take this guy down, since she's asking him to do it. I mean, we know Rimuru is strong, but if this orc lord is supposed to be this legendary creature, and on top of that, he probably was given a name by Gamed, then he's gonna be a problem. And Gamed was also mentioned here too. They think it's either a dragon lord or him that's up to this. So, my fault, not a dragon lord. They think it's either a demon lord or Gamad, who's probably up to this. Since Gamad did show himself before, once in their village before it got destroyed of the orgs, and one time here in the Goblin village before Rimuru entered. So his name was dropped as well. So we have to keep him in mind. And also Rimuru was like, I don't know if it's the same demon lord that made Shino-san suffered. So right now we don't have all the connections and pieces to make a connection. But I would have to say that since Rimuru made that promise to take up and find the master of Shusi or Shino, I most likely guarantee you that Gamad is probably connected to that demon lord. Or maybe the demon lord he's with is probably an ally of that one. Either way though, things is very good in this episode. It wasn't a fighting episode, even though we had that one little fight scene, but it was more a very intense build-up and backstory of certain things and people. So it was nice to see that. Really great episode 11. But yeah, I can't wait for next week. Things should be really lit next week, but just leave your thoughts, comments, and opinions down below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, share with your family and friends. Follow me on Twitter. The link will be down below. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Have a good day.